Hello, and welcome to the first episode of the Insider Diaries. So, the Insider Diaries is going to be a monthly episode with just me, where I am going to be yapping, just talking about my point of view and my views on things and things that have been happening in the industry. And today I want to talk about two things I want to talk about. And the first is the influencer makeup artist situation that happened a couple of weeks ago, I think it was. And then the other is visibility, which I think they tie together both of those topics in a way because the influencer makeup artist thing, I guess they were doing it to get visibility. But first of all, I just want to have a quick talk about what is happening with the podcast. The last 6 months of the podcast, from about October through to now, have been a huge journey for me. Actually, the whole podcast has been a huge journey for me. Like 2021, I started it, and that's 5 years ago now. And I've been through a lot of different things in that time, of which most I don't share. And I actually am not opposed to sharing them. I just guess that I feel that people possibly aren't even interested in me sharing them. But I'm actually going to share them today. So in that time, I have been through a fertility journey. I have done 4 rounds of IVF. And in that's been 4 embryo transfers and 3 egg retrievals. I have been going through a fertility or a desire to have a child for 16, maybe 18 years. Since I turned 31, it was a very clear moment in my time where I'm like, and I'm more than happy to talk more about that. If anyone is interested, let me know. But that has been a journey. It has been a struggle. It has been filled with ups and downs, tears, so many things. Even going off and walking 900 Ks across Spain to try and work out, did I want to be a solo parent? Did I want to have a child on my own as a female? Anyway, if you want to know more about that, please let me know. I'm more than happy to talk about it. I am nearly at the end of my fertility journey, and I'm 46 now, turning 47 this year. Unfortunately, childbearing is an age thing, right? It depends on your fertility, your age, and as we age as females, it becomes less viable. Anyway, that will be coming to an end shortly. The possibility or the likelihood that I will be able to have a child. And I'm completely at peace now with whatever the outcome is. I think you can have a great life child-free or a great life with children. And I will say getting my dog has really helped with I don't know, maybe it's just the nurturing side of me. So yeah, that's been going on. And then I also have an autoimmune disease, which has probably been one of the reasons that's made it difficult for me to have a child. But also, it just really can play into your mood, your motivation, anxiety levels, and all of those sorts of things. And I have been changing doctors and trying new things over the last 12 months of being in Sydney. And my levels have been completely out of whack. And hopefully, they're stabilizing now. When they're not good or when they're not right, it's really hard to actually live. You just feel, the only way I can explain it is you just feel heavy. It's like when you think it takes a long time for the wires to connect. That's the only way I can explain it. And it can just make you really depressed and actually quite anxious. So if you know anything about Hashimoto's, which is what I have, there's a level in it called TSH. And they like your TSH, I think, to be under 2, but over 5. So my level swung from 20 down to 0 in the matter of 6 months. And yeah, it wasn't a pleasant time in my life. And it's just really hard. You actually have no motivation to make your life better, but all you want to do is make your life better. And the reason I'm telling you this is because in October last year, I recorded 2 of the episodes, probably the first 2 that come out this year. So I think it's episode 100 and 101. And I recorded them with the fabulous Julia from Cork and Contour. We did them on the Gold Coast. And I made a decision that I wanted to up the production value of my podcast, and I wanted to add these new segments and all of this. And then with doing that and with going through not a great time in my life, when it came to getting those episodes back, when I record this as I'm recording it now, I have a lot of control over what I look like or what you can see when it comes to me. And when I recorded those, I guess a whole lot more of me was shown. The angle was different. I don't think that the setup or anything looked bad, but I had this huge fear of what I was going to look like or what I was going to see when I saw myself, and probably going through all of my issues as well at the time made it a lot more difficult. Anyway, I've come out the other side of that, and I did release those 2 episodes. I think I did them in April, but it took me about 6 months to get to that point. And I also went through a phase where I'm like, what am I doing? Do I keep doing the podcast? Do I stop? What am I doing? I moved from Melbourne to Sydney 2.5 years ago. So I was going through the process of establishing myself in a new market and all of that. So there was a lot happening, and I'm ready to now really try and take my podcast to the next level. If you know anyone who might be interested in listening, or anyone, any other makeup artist, even anyone who is a beauty lover, I would love you to share it with them, because I would really like to get my potty out to more people so I can get more guests, right? And the way I look at it though is it's not really for me about getting bigger and better guests, because I think all of my guests are amazing. And I guess I don't value people or value a makeup artist's ability based on their following. I guess it's just, for me, it's just people who I admire and I can see could add value with their story to the community and motivate and inspire. So I guess, it's just for me to be able to reach more people, to maybe be able to get some overseas guests. I'd even love to go overseas and do some interviews. That's in the future. We'll see what happens. But so there's gonna be 2 guest interviews a month, and there is gonna be one segment with me, which is this one, which is the Insider Diaries. And then there's going to be the Insider Edit, which is going to be me and another makeup artist or someone talking about their favorite products and sharing them with you, because I feel that those episodes people tend to love. Right. And people have said to me the part that they love the most on the podcast is when they hear about people's kit favorites. So the reason I didn't want to stop doing the podcast is because I do have a genuine interest in people. I'm much better at getting information out of people than talking about myself. I love hearing people's stories. And so, I can't stop doing the podcast because I am really interested in hearing what people have to say and learning about their stories and their journey. But in saying that, if you are somebody who thinks you would be an amazing guest on the Inside Edit talking about products, what you're loving, about your kit, about your personal favorites, reach out to me. Pitch to me, tell me what you've got to offer. And I'm going to run a competition to just allow listeners to come and be one of the guests and talk about their products and what they're loving. So if that sounds like you, let me know if you're interested in me running that competition. All right. So one of the things I wanted to talk about today is visibility. An amazing makeup artist I've had on the podcast. Her name's Kira. She's got the product Pro Shine, and she's also got a blog. And she posted something recently. I'll link to it in the show notes. But she was talking about visibility and about how things have changed over the years. But how things have changed over the years about being visible as a makeup artist. Once upon a time, it was maybe looked down upon to be being visible and sharing certain parts of your work. Whereas now it's like you almost need to do it to, I don't know, should I say, stay relevant? But it came around the time when I've just had this huge realization that, and this isn't just about makeup artists, this is about anyone can go online and start talking about something, whether it be makeup artistry or anything, and they can be seen as an authority. You might be watching someone who, I don't know, maybe they're a personal trainer or something, maybe they're a makeup artist and they're online and they're talking about, I don't know, how to build muscle, how to lose weight, whatever, which one. And we instantly see them as an authority because they are online talking about these things. And I feel like this tends to be maybe younger people, and that's not having a go at younger people, but I guess what I'm trying to get at here is that I think visibility is such an important part of what we are doing. This is such an important part if you want to move forward as a makeup artist, depending on what I don't know, what realm you want to work in. And for me, showing up online hasn't been an easy journey or hasn't been an easy thing for me. And I remember that I started the process of trying to get comfortable in front of the camera back in 2019 when I was doing the Camino, where I walked across Spain, and I would, on my personal page, I would talk to the camera about what I was doing every day. And I felt cringe, right? To be honest, even coming on today and doing this is a little bit cringe for me, because I'm from the generation, or from the age, I'm actually a Gen X. I'm not a millennial. And I'm from the time when it was, if you were seen to be too confident, maybe it was just as a female, or seemed to like yourself too much, or up yourself, or whatever it is, it was looked down upon, right? So showing up online and doing these kind of things for me in the beginning were really hard, because it had been conditioned into me as a younger person that when you did that, it wasn't a positive. I spoke to a client of mine on Friday, and we were a similar age, and she said something which just really rang true to me. She goes, "You just couldn't be seen to love yourself, right?" Whereas now we teach people to love yourself, to put yourself out there, and who doesn't want to love themselves, right? That's the goal. That's where all self-confidence comes from and gives you the ability to move forward. I guess what I'm saying is that I feel that we need to be visible to move forward in our careers these days. And you can choose, though, the visibility that you want to have, depending on which area you work in as a makeup artist. I recently I've still got, actually, it's Marissa Grace. She's a bridal expert, and she does amazing courses. She's got one that's all based around social media and visibility. And she has a section in there where she talks about different buyer types and the younger generation, Gen Z, that's under millennials, the Gen Zers that are coming up, and now they're booking their wedding artists, and they want to really know you. There's all different buyer types. I can't even remember. There's analytical, there's all this, but I would highly recommend buying her course. I'll link it in the show notes. If you want to understand, if you're in the bridal space and you want to understand the different buyer types and you want help at showing up online, she gives you challenges that you can do. There's different levels of the course that you can do. And it's just really helpful if you're stuck and you don't know how to show up online. So that's more of a bridal kind of makeup artist. So for me personally, my focus at the moment is really getting the podcast out there. And also my focus is my commercial work as well. And the way I approach visibility there is a bit different, which I'll talk about that at the moment. But I've been very committed to posting reels every day on my Instagram feed. So I post them on my TikTok first, and then I will post them on my Instagram. And one thing I probably really struggled with was in the beginning is I wanted it to be perfect straight away. I wanted it to be so good. I wanted to have my process down as to how I did things from the very beginning. And that's a bit of a mistake that I made, because when you have to start and you have to be a beginner, right? So you have to be prepared to be slower. You have to be prepared for things to not look as polished. You have to be prepared to get things wrong or mess up maybe, or maybe not do them the best way. But all of that is learning. So while you're starting, you're learning. So you'll notice that I've started a series which I release on a Sunday night, and it's me. I'm at week 10 at the moment. And I released that last night. And it's me talking about how I get my commercial work, when it was booked, and if I made my target for that week. And as I've worked up to doing it in different weeks, and as I'm at week 10, I've perfected it's changed the way that I record it. So I guess what I'm saying is that I have gotten better or faster or refining the process of making the content, but it has taken a while. Like week 10, that's almost 3 months. And I've had really good feedback on that segment. People are really interested as to if I have made my target. And I had one person say to me in the messages, "I love your new series. I'm really rooting for you because I want to find out if you've made your target." I've even had other people message me about it. Any feedback, please let me know. And I'm looking now to developing another series that I'm going to be doing as well. So anyway, what I'm saying is I do think visibility is important. I do think show up the way that is natural and feels good for you. You don't have to be talking to camera like that. So over on my Vanessa Barney page, which is like my commercial work page, I am committed to posting about 2 to 3 times a week. Is because the one thing I've really realized is in this industry is you need to stay top of mind. And by posting regularly, people are seeing you and they're seeing, well, I might not be working, but they're seeing my stuff come across their feed so that then they remember me. My posting isn't to make me look busy and booked. My posting really, the only reason I'm doing it is to stay top of mind with people. Because I know I had to get another makeup artist on a shoot recently and I couldn't think of anybody. I just was like, oh my gosh, everyone I messaged wasn't available. And then another makeup artist who I love, she came up on my Instagram stories and I was like, oh my gosh, I'll ask her. So that for me was just a real reminder or just even a really good lesson about being top of mind, just reminding people that you exist, right? For me, it's reminding people that I am a hairdresser and I do hair because I think that is my superpower. It's that I can do hair and makeup and do hair equally as well as makeup. And also actually on that page, it's also reminding people that I do bridal and I do events. I don't post about it on that page because I want my Vanessa Barney page to be a page that commercial clients go to and they can just see that's my work and that's what I do. If anyone was to ask me, do I think social media matters? Yeah, I actually do think social media matters. I don't think it matters as much as we think it does or for the reasons that we think it does, unless of course you're trying to be an educator or an influencer, whereas in that case, I think if you want to be an influencer or a content creator, you need to be posting a lot and you need to have a lot of followers and your metrics need to be high. If you want to sell education or think something like that, when you want to sell yourself personally or your skill, I do think you need to show your face on there because people buy people, right? People buy you as a person. I think at the bridal space too, it matters as well, showing a bit of your personality. And maybe it does matter too on your commercial page, showing your personality. I just don't do a lot of front-facing stuff on my commercial page because I still feel like commercial work is very much word of mouth or recommendation. So yes, that's how I feel about the visibility thing. And then the other topic that I want to talk about was Yana, the Love Island influencer, and the makeup artist situation. So when I saw this post, the main thing that came into my mind was that I could understand why Yana wanted money, was asking for payment because she is a content creator and these people were approaching her to do their makeup. Do I agree with it? No. And would I do it? Probably not. But I can still see from her point of view why she did that. So I made a reel about it. I posted it on my Instagram and I asked everyone for their sort of feedback. And I got a mix of things that came back. And one that came back, which wasn't something I really thought about, was the discretion point of view. And I actually do really agree with the discretion point of view about I would never talk badly about my clients or I would never speak negatively about another makeup artist online because I just don't think it's very nice, but also because of the perception that it would give. And I just wouldn't want my clients to think I was talking negatively about them or thought negatively about them because they're ultimately they're my clients, they're my everything, they're my bread and butter, that's how I live. So I would never want to be seen to be talking negatively about anybody. And so I didn't actually think about the discretion part of things, but a few people brought that up. And Ask Alan actually did an incredible 2-part reel series on this talking about discretion. And if that's something you don't understand, I would suggest going and having a listen to that. And the other thing that people brought up was that they've worked with influencers in a collaboration way before in the past, and the influencers haven't ended up tagging them in the posts. And I just want to share my experience and why I wouldn't do this, and the lessons that I've learned as to why I wouldn't do this. Because I have worked for free. I've done a lot of things for free, collaborations and all of that. So back in about 2017, I would ask people if they would come and I could do their makeup and create content, and if they would just sit for me. And a lot of people said yes. There were people that I worked with when I was on Neighbours. And there were occasions when I did their makeup and they would go to an event. And that's not on them, that is on me, because I had offered this collaboration, right? But for me, it just never sat right, because I eventually wanted to be paid if I was doing someone's hair and makeup to go to an event. That was ultimately, what I wanted. I was being paid by other people, but I wanted to be paid. If people even had a profile or a following, I still wanted them to pay me to do their hair and makeup if they were going to an event. But I had set this standard that I would do their hair and makeup for content, right? So I still did have, these people still did pay me when they were going to events on occasions. I think it maybe just happened once or twice when they didn't, right? So that for me was a massive eye opener for me, that I didn't want to go down that path, right? I didn't want to go down the path of collaborating with somebody and then they tag me in their post, because I ultimately wanted to be paid for that kind of work. So that was a big lesson to me earlier on. And yes, those people did tag me, and I may have been tagged in their captions and on their stories. But one thing I learned from that is that it didn't really give me a lot. My following didn't spike a lot. I just didn't feel like anyone said to me, I've booked you because you've done such and such as hair and makeup. So for me, I didn't see the value in it. Now, I know there's been a lot of makeup artists who have grown a following off the back of people who have got influence. They've done their makeup and then their following's grown because of that. But I think the reason that their following has grown so much is because it was something that was done so regularly. I think it has to be a regular thing for that to grow. And I don't think it's as easy for it to happen now. But that's just my opinion and that's just my experience. And that is why I choose not to do collaboration. If someone wants a hair and makeup done with me, it's paid. I have in the past done a collaboration with somebody who came to town and they said, will you do my hair and makeup? Would you do it at a discounted rate and we can do a collaboration post? So I was like, sure. Did that. I don't even really feel like I saw any benefit in doing that. So that's just me from my experience. I feel like once you haven't charged somebody, it is really hard to bring your value back up to ask them to pay you. I guess the reason why I'm sharing this is because if there are newer artists out there, younger artists, I just don't think you need to do these things where you're not paid. I don't think the return on investment is as great as what we think they are. But let me know if it's worked the other way for you. So I guess the reason why with in the situation of the Yana situation with Perth makeup artists, the reason why they did it was for visibility, right? One of the girls said on there, I think it was the hairstylist, said, some people pay Meta, I've just paid Yana. And I completely can see her point of view on that. But I would actually love to know what the payoff was, like what the return on investment was and what she expected from that. And if she got that's amazing. That's great. The advice that no one's asked for, which I would do if I was moving into doing this kind of work where I was paying somebody or I was doing a collaboration, I would just really protect myself and I would get in writing what the exchange is, because a lot of people have said to me that they're not getting tagged in the posts when they do these collaborations. So I would strongly suggest list out what the deliverables are, what the expectations are for you from the influencer's point of view and from your point of view. List it out. This is an exchange and you'll be tagging me in all posts on stories. Really list out exactly what is expected of them and expected of you, to maybe save disappointment in the future. That would be my number one suggestion. Anyway, I hope this has been a beneficial episode. Please share it if you think you have somebody who may benefit from listening to this. And I'm really happy if you don't agree with me on this. I'm happy to have a conversation and hear your point of view because I would love to understand people's perspectives on why you'd want to do lots of collaborations and if it has worked for you, because I would love to hear the point of view of someone who it has been really beneficial for. Because I do work for free. I do things where I'll do test shoots or I might do a magazine shoot and I'll do that for free because I can see the benefit in that. So if you can see the value in something, absolutely do it. But maybe just make sure you know what you're getting or what the deliverables are before you sign up and say yes. Anyway, thank you so much for listening. Have an amazing week. And if you follow me on Instagram, please say hello. Please jump in and have a chat. I love to chat online. Anyway, thank you so much for listening. Bye. Thanks for joining me today on The Makeup Insider. I hope you've enjoyed the show. Please don't forget to rate and subscribe, and I'll see you soon. Bye for now.